Planning Commission is now in session here, called to order at 6 p.m. First, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Next item on the agenda is consent agenda to approve the tonight's meeting agenda and the Planning Commission minutes for last week.
This is Kim. I make a motion to approve the Commission June 18th, 2025 Planning Commission minutes.
And a second by Mike.
All right, we have a second. Call for a vote.
Mike, aye.
Kim, aye.
Robin, aye. All right. Tonight, it's going to be a busy night. First, we're going to have just a general public open forum. Have anybody have anything that they would like to bring up that has nothing to do with tonight's meeting? Is there anybody online that would like to bring anything up? All right, then we're going to move on to the public hearings. Okay. Eleanor, could you please read the notices published in the Forest Lake Times?
Of course. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the City of Columbus Planning Commission on Wednesday, July 16th, 2025 at 6 p.m. or soon thereafter as parties may be heard to consider a request for a text amendment and an interim use permit, an IUP, to allow a small wedding venue hosting no more than 50 guests in the rural residential zoning district. The hearing will be conducted in person and by interactive technology at the Columbus City Hall, located at 16319 Kettle River Boulevard, Columbus, Minnesota. Members of the public interested in attending in person, monitoring the meeting, or wanting more information should contact the city offices at 651-464-3120 or visit the city website at columbusmn.us. The hearing shall continue until all evidence and testimony has been received.
Thank you, Eleanor. Mr. and Mrs. Harper, could you please step up to the table, please? If you could state your name and address, and please make sure you speak into the microphone so that people online can hear as well.
Julie Harper, 7553 180th Avenue Northeast, Columbus, Minnesota, 55025.
Chris Harper.
Thank you. As normal, we reviewed your application, and we would just like you to give us, again, a brief a little brief about your history of your proposal, what you would like to do. If you could give us a little.
First, we'd like to say thank you to the Commission, the Planning Commission tonight for hearing this, and we appreciate your time. So what we are respectfully requesting is the approval of an IUP, or an interim use permit, to host small private wedding ceremonies at our rural resident property at Columbus, Minnesota. These events will be low impact, springtime, May through June, because of the deer flies, and then September through October because of the cold. So these will all be outdoor events, and ceremonial wedding is what we are striving for. And these will be professionally managed and supervised by Chris and I, each of these events. And we will be present. We will be always engaged in the event itself, making sure that everything is running smoothly as well. And we have a maximum guest amount of 50 or less people, and the event duration wouldn't be more than 4 hours. And the event hours, all events will end no later than 10 p.m. if they happen to have a wedding in the evening. And then and it would not begin any earlier than 11 a.m. So they could have a morning wedding if they had something in the morning. And there is noise control. There's no loud music or amplification. Only background music would be allowed, like during the ceremony itself, like if someone was singing or something on that order. Alcohol policy, no alcohol on the premises. And then parking, all guests and vendor parking is on site. I gave you each a packet, and you can see how long our driveway is and how the side of it has got all green grass where people would be parking. This allows an easy entrance as well as an easy exit. If somebody had to leave, they would not be interfering with the party itself. It's in the back, and they would be able to manage to get out of the drive as well because of the width of the driveway. Also, restrooms, we're going to do we're hoping to do two like luxury restrooms that we would be either renting per event so that they have ample bathroom facilities available at all times. And then, like I said before, this is owner supervised, so Chris and I are always going to be there. We're not leaving our property unattended, and we would be monitoring what is coming in and what is going out. And then, as far as security monitoring, we're going to install, if this is approved, we're going to install a pretty extensive camera system, both in the front of pointing down the driveway so we can see what's coming in and going out, and then also on the back of the yard so that we can see what the wedding party is actually doing. So if there was an issue, we would be able to handle it accordingly and at least have it documented. From that, I'm going to thank you again for hearing us out tonight, and I don't have anything else, Eleanor.
All right, now at this time, I would like to open it up to my commissioners here if you have some questions for them.
Looking at the photographs in the first page, there isn't parking on the left side of the driveway, just the right?
There is parking on the, but we couldn't do all the traffic, can't go on one side, it has to be split.
Be primarily on the right,
Primarily on the right is the majority of the traffic.
the west side.
Yeah.
We can
big-
have rights and
Right.
lefts, correct here.
The big green spot.
Having been out there, I would say no, that you really don't have ample room for parking on the one side.
Okay.
You need 10 by 20 spaces, and
We'd have to all be on the grass.
there
then.
really isn't the space there because you also need enough width for emergency vehicles to go through.
Okay.
So if there really isn't room down the one side, but there is ample parking on the west side. Is that right? The west side?
Yep.
Yep.
There is ample parking there on the west side.
Does that answer your question?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Okay. For the record, did you receive a copy of the staff report developed by Eleanor Hahn? Where's my note go? Dated July 16th, 2025, regarding this application. Report notes certain findings and numberings 1 through 16 on page 1 through 3.
It's the same one.
And it also notes recommendations numbering 1 through 15. Do you understand the recommendations and conditions? Do you have any questions or comments about them at this time?
We understand.
Thank you. All right. Do you have any questions for them today?
I'm sure some people have had concerns about like if there's alcohol. I know you folks say that there won't be any, but there could be. How would you address that?
If there was someone that actually supported a bottle like in their car, they would be asked to immediately leave.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but that we're a non-alcohol venue, and when a bride and groom comes to us and understands that, they are supporting this whole with a security deposit as well. So if there was any kind of issue that said this is costing harm, then of course that security deposit would be rendered.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll
And-
declare that as leverage.
Yep, and that is why we would be saying this is a non-alcoholic. But if they want alcohol, let's say that they want to just be married, we would be honoring the marriage ceremony and then telling them, you need to take your venue off the premises because we're non-alcoholics, so they need to entertain like a VFW or something, and that's what we would encourage them to do. If they don't want to stay at our property because we're a non-alcoholic venue, then they have to make the choice, we're either not their venue, that we don't meet their requirements, or they're going to have to find a different spot, and a lot of times that happens in these small weddings. So it's just a ceremony that happens in the backyard, and then from there they take their party elsewhere to, cut loose, and we don't want to be part of that.
I do have a concern of, as Mike was saying, the idea that, the groomsmen decide to pop the trunks after the wedding and start popping alcohol.
Yep.
Start popping beers and having some fun and getting loud and rowdy. What are you going to do when that happens?
Like we just said, we're going to be asking them to either leave and probably surrender their deposit, and that would be the bride and groom that would have to go and handle that and tell them to knock it off.
If they're not orderly, we would have to call the police.
Yep.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear you say. I wanted to hear you say that you would call the police, because that is exactly what you would need to do. Amy, do you have anything? Yes.
You want to open the public hearing to receive some further comment from the community, and then we can
Yes.
ask some more questions
All right.
afterwards.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Harper, you can be seated. At this time, we're going to open the public hearing to anyone who has an interest in this application or discussion and wants to present testimony as evidence on this issue. Please acknowledge themselves. If you come up one by one, have a seat at the table, please give me your name and full address, and please be sure to speak into the microphone.
Do you mind if I stand?
No, that's okay.
Got a leg cramp, so. I'm Jeff Larson. I live at 7625 180th Avenue Northeast, Columbus, Minnesota, 55025. We are the direct neighbors of the Harpers. If you look at the plot plan, when you see that property line that runs right up their driveway and around their barn, that's my property.
Okay?
So I speak in opposition of their plan. I found out about the plan from your notice. Thanks, Jack. It's helpful to know that this was planned in our backyard. So I oppose this for several different reasons. One of it, they mentioned deer flies. We're all stuck in our houses all summer long. Now I got to give up my springs and my falls to support some wedding event. I mean, I built in the back of a quiet residential neighborhood to not have to deal with this kind of stuff. I don't want to follow a schedule, mowing my yard, splitting wood, doing whatever I want to do in my yard. As you can see, when they split the property line from the previous owner, it's not a good split. When I went to move my garden shed from the backyard to the front yard to make room for the new barn, first thing I was told is, you don't have 5 acres. You ain't moving your deal forward. I don't have 5 acres. They don't have 5 acres. My line goes right up the side of their driveway. My property's under video surveillance. I am blind to whatever goes on behind their garage, next to their driveway. That area is all blind to me. And if we're going to open this up for public events, I got to put in surveillance. You know, for somebody to wander into my woods and get hurt, or heaven forbid, get stuck in that front pond and somebody drowns, that's my property. When somebody flicks a butt, you know, into my woods, that's Carlos Avery right behind me. I mean, who wants to deal with that? I can't see what's going on behind my barn. I don't know what's going on at their event. You know, we put that barn up to create privacy between us. I can't see what's going on. But the property line's not more than 20 feet behind my barn. So for somebody to slip off into the woods be behind my barn, be back behind my property. I don't want to run into trespassers. We're in a quiet neighborhood. The sheriff doesn't come back unless you call him. Our area is not patrolled. And the only time I ever see them back there is when they're there on a call. We're in a quiet neighborhood. We don't like traffic. We don't like strangers. The road we have out front, really brittle. It's the millings. It's not gravel, but it's still millings and it's very brittle. And as you can see, nobody's parking along the one side of the driveway because that's almost my yard.
Yep.
And
Okay,
if they
we're
park
going to
out on the road, the shoulders are very brittle, very steep. And it's the way they split that lot, for what they want to do, their lot doesn't support it. If they want to run a business venture, they should have bought the other 4.5 acres before we ever came in and built.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop you at this time. Your time is up. If there is somebody else, thank you for your time.
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Name Jim Fraley, 7507 180th Avenue Northeast, Columbus, Minnesota. I just want to say, Chris and Julie Harper, they've been good neighbors to me. I live just to the east, pardon me, I live just to the west of them, the next house west. My house is probably 400 feet from their house, okay? Like I said, they've been good neighbors, they keep to themselves, never had any issues, but, and I don't have a problem with them having a family wedding, once, maybe twice a year, no big deal there. Because a lot of people here, I think, probably wouldn't mind that either. But to have up to 10 our concern is, 10 wedding venues a year, and it ain't really a year, it's only, 4 months, I think it is. My wife and I, we enjoy the peace and quiet of the yard and our neighborhood, and I don't know, there's not going to be any bands, but how about DJs or other, types of music like that? Microphone, how voices carry. I mean, granted, there's a row of pine trees, but, I can still hear things through the woods or trees on a quiet night when I'm sitting on the deck maybe and enjoying things. And the traffic on the road, of course, is another issue. And like he said, the road isn't in the best of shape. And let's just say I got my house for sale next year or two. And I got a buyer, right? The realtor comes and says, yeah, we got a buyer, so I'm fine. Okay. Well, then he finds out, he comes and the guy's interested, and then he comes back a couple days later and says, well, he heard you have, is it true you have 10 weddings, in the summertime? Your neighbors? Yeah. Well, what's that going to do to a sale? I don't know. They say the maximum people is, well, I thought it was 40, but now it's 50, you say? Right? 50
Yes.
people?
Yes.
Okay, 50 people.
Per event.
Per event, correct. And does that include, say, the musicians, the caterers, photographers, if there's a photographer, combined? I don't know. Or is it just guests? And I just want to say, what if you guys' neighbor or in your neighborhood had this, wanted to do this? How would you feel if the houses were this close together in your neighborhood? Now, years ago, when this Columbus was a lot of farms, they could get by with this, because a lot of people had at least a 40-acre piece. But them days are over. Now there's developments, and that's what this is, a development. So we're definitely, we're against it. The events, they're going to take place during the best 4 months of the year. So July and first part of August, them deer flies are bad. So, you go outside, but you got to put netting on. So now we're going to have 4 best, months of the year. We're going to have, weddings next door. And, there's a lot of other places that pay big money to have, weddings. They pay big money for their insurance, their, all this stuff, wedding venues. I think there's 3 of them alone just out in Scania area. And, it's a commercial deal, and they got, they're set up for it. They don't have the neighbors right next door. So, I don't know. Me and the wife are, like I said, we have nothing against Chris and Julie, but we don't want no wedding venues out there.
All right. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to come forward at this time?
I'm David Anderson. I live at 17921 Mackenzie Street, where we moved in 1997. So we've been there for some time. My house is located along the paved road that's about halfway between Broadway and where the proposed venue would be. It's the only paved road between Broadway and the venue, so the traffic would be going by our house. We use that road for lots of things besides driving, taking our granddaughters for walks, riding our bikes. My wife runs on that road. I think this will increase traffic on that road on weekends by a factor of 3 or 4 or 5. It's not a busy road, and we're concerned about that. So I'm opposed to allowing an interim use permit for this venue on this property or any property in our neighbors. It just isn't this particular in our neighborhood. We're concerned about parking, like's been expressed here. A group of 50 people plus caterers and more. That I think is a minimum of 30 or 35 vehicles. That's a lot of vehicles to find a place to park for. And if they are parked along the road, there are issues with emergency vehicles and just the use of that road on a weekend by the people who live there. We haven't seen the plans until tonight, so we're glad that we got a chance to see those, and I'm glad that I got a chance to convey our concerns. And I just will end by reiterating that as long-term residents, this is not something that we think is compatible with a neighborhood that is zoned for rural residential. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ashley Venberg, and I live at 7646 179th Avenue Northeast in Columbus, on the opposite side of the Harpers, on where they're building their venue. And my concern is because my house is on a dirt road, and we're going to have an influx of traffic since our neighborhood has 2 entrances. So I'm concerned that not everybody's going to be taking the one route, but we have another route on Xingu where it's going to be completely washboarded. So I guess what is the city planning on doing to then maintain that dirt road? Is my concern, so.
Okay.
How much time do I have?
Pardon?
How much time do I have?
You have 5 minutes.
I'll do my best. Thanks for letting me speak. My name is Tom Bantari.
Can we have
I'm a
your
30
address, Tom?
my address is 17737 Potomac Street. Me and my wife Beth, she's not here tonight, unfortunately. We're 37-year property owners there. We've raised 4 children, on and on, 17 grandkids. My property is about 400 feet away from the Harper's property, from the subject property. And I want to just also mention I'm representing, or I've talked to my neighbors, Ruth Doffenbach-Katurba. She lives at 17919. Next to us, she's got the 10 acres next to us. She is incapable of travel. She voices against this as well, same as myself and my wife. And also Russ and Laura Peterson. They're at 17768 McKenzie Street, and they live out in front of us. And they are against this for primarily, again, both of them, the purpose of the additional traffic at prime time in the summertime. I'm going to tell a 30-second story, hopefully. Close to 3 years ago, it took about 3 years to clear up the maleficent behavior across the street from our place, on McKenzie Street there. And that upset the neighborhood, rather. People stopped walking, and because of the traffic of the people that came and went from that house. And it really upset, you no longer seen people, and I think everybody will tell you that weren't riding their bicycles, weren't walking their kids and everything. It shut down because of the dogs, the guard dogs they had and everything else there. It took close to 3 years, a dozen calls from myself to the deputies, allowing them to park on my property, keep an eye on the place, several calls to the town board, but it took forever to get that situation cleared up. And finally, our neighborhood now in the last year has been back to normal. People enjoy it. They walk it. You heard it all tonight, and that's true. It's very quiet. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just one loop that goes around. And we want to maintain that. So hence, that's my biggest objection is against the traffic. I don't know these people. I've never met them until tonight. I haven't even met them, but I know who they are now. I have nothing against them either. But it's a business that doesn't seem, and again, my biggest concern is basically the traffic is an issue. Also, they talk about 50, and I think people brought it up enough, 50 people that could be there for those venues. These people are right, there's going to be more people than that. And can't forget the point that they could have up to 2. Our hours are long on weekends. They could easily have 2 venues per day. You're talking 100. How many cars is that? They say a session is normally 4 hours, I believe, in their application. I previewed it rather quickly. So I think, this is not just 25, 30 cars a day. I think it's getting closer on up there, especially. That brings me to another point about taxes then. This is a business. That's what they're asking to do, is operate a business in their place. I wonder at what point is it sort of like A and B houses up in Cass County, for example, they are now taxing them for people that rent out their cabins up there. Because they run a business, they should have a different tax bracket, or they have to pay more for commercial type of activity. At what point is something like this? It's not an answer that I won't get an answer tonight. You don't have an answer for it, but it does make me wonder. And the reason because that is what Jim Freely brought up, and I had that also as a note. He's the one that was basically as the public works director of this wonderful township we had for years, him and George Johnson, that they used the millings out in front there. And it was a trial basis. He brought millions in and they compacted it, did a very nice job. And that road has lasted very well. But again, you gotta remember, it's low traffic. The Venberg Gal, they go out the other way, a lot of people do. A lot of people up in that corner still come around now on the blacktop where the new development went in out in front of us. And that's the way it is, but it's very, very quiet now. It's back to where it was. But he did that 15, 20 years ago. And how long is that road going to last? All of a sudden now you're seeing maybe 50 to 100 cars a day. I don't know, maybe it's only 20. But again, I don't know if the city, they're gonna wanna take up that Mills Road. It's hard to patch. Are they gonna go back to a gravel road? I don't think the residents are gonna like that either. So, Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi there. I'm Michelle Hogan, and I live at 7221 180th Avenue Northeast. We are the house that is right on the corner where Mackenzie turns into 180th Avenue. I don't want to repeat what everybody said. They were all exactly what my family came here to talk about, and we align with their thoughts and their concerns and worries about everything. A couple things just to add on that. A huge concern is that, yes, we did just get our neighborhood back and feeling safe again after we had a lot of things going on with one particular home. And we didn't go outside with our son. We had cars that were coming around that corner where our driveways are at high rates of speed, and in fact had multiple cars almost come into our ditch, and one almost rolled over where my son was playing. We started staying up closer to our home. We had to start locking up our items because we were having things stolen. We moved up from the cities, and we looked for many, many years for a house where we could be away from the worry and the strain of things being stolen, strangers in our neighborhood, and to have just some sort of peace to raise our family. I know all the neighbors, or the majority of them, and they're wonderful people, and I'm sure you guys are as well. But the thought of having that many strangers coming into my neighborhood, disrupting the flow of our peace and sanctuary area, terrifies me. Regardless of whether it's a non-alcoholic wedding venue, there are many of those. I've been to weddings where that is a rule, where you are not allowed to drink on the premises, and there are plenty of people that came completely wasted out of their minds. They'll be driving right on my corner where we ride our bikes, where we play, where we have friends over. And I'll never forgive myself if something like that happened, because I moved up here to have a little bit more protection around us. So I hope you will take that into account, because even just having that one house, having strangers coming around, was really hard. I can't imagine having 50 plus people coming down that road and parking 4 doors down from me and not knowing what's happening. We just wouldn't be outside. It would close down our entire bike riding enjoyment. We just would not do it.
Okay. Thank you.
My name's Patrick Torrance. I live at 7135 178th Avenue Northeast, which the pavement runs by my house, around the corner to where they want to their house where they want the venue. My issues are, I have 2 young daughters that like to ride their bike down the road to the gravel to a friend's house over there. I like to let my kids be kids. We moved up there to the quiet neighborhood for the reason that they can do that stuff. My concern is now I'm gonna have to limit my kids not to go out on that road on the weekends, whenever the venue's going on. Which the whole purpose, we all moved up to that neighborhood. It's a quiet residential neighborhood. I do know a lot of the neighbors. A lot of them like to walk around too, which that's not gonna happen also. Everybody's gonna be limited to their properties on the weekends because of that. So that is why I oppose to this venue going in. 50 people, we all know what happens. You can say it's gonna be 50. I disagree. yeah, it's going to be more. The traffic is the concern. But the other big thing is when's the next business going to get someone want to put something in the residential neighborhood? We're residential, we're not commercial. We want to keep it residential for that reason. Otherwise, you're going to lose all these people in this neighborhood because who's going to start the next business? Who's going to start the next business? How many times are we going to go down this road to where all of us have to suffer of having a nice property, which those are hard to come by this day and age, unless you're moving an hour plus north of here, which I don't want that, and I don't think anybody else wants that. I think the traffic is going to get overwhelming on that road. And the speed of the traffic that's going to be coming by. Again, a lot of my neighbors like to walk. They like to ride bikes. They like to walk their dogs. Again, I let my kids take the dog for a walk. Am I going to be able to do that anymore? Probably not on the weekends of a safety concern. And I get it. It's not going to. They say it's going to be not going to be any alcohol. Who's to say people, again, like the lady just stated, that they're not going to show up after they've been at the bar because they know that it's a non-alcoholic wedding, so they're going to get it in before they get there. So for those reasons, I oppose of the menu going in, and it's just going to be a chain reaction where next year we're going to be doing this again for the next person that wants to start a wedding venue or another business in a residential neighborhood. So I oppose of it 100%, and we need to keep it residential, not business. There's properties for sale all over that say commercial properties. One just went up on Lake Drive. That's where these things need to go, not in residential neighborhoods.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Anna Larson. I live at 18757 Jennings Street in Columbus, Minnesota, 55025. May sound like a broken record, but while I am not living in this exact neighborhood, I was born and raised there. My dad, Tom, you had just heard from, and just wanted to share some of the same concerns that the other individuals here tonight have. When the notice came out, the text messages started flying. Like I said, I'm not even in the neighborhood, and I had several of the moms and the dads that still live there reach out to me and ask for my support tonight to come. As stated, it's a residential neighborhood, and I still bring my 3 kids there because Grandma and Grandpa are there, and we frequent from Bertina's house to Michelle's house, down to Sue and Jim Fraley's house. I see David Anderson with his grandkids out on the street as well, and I can attest to the house across the street from where I grew up and how it took many years to get that cleaned up and the dangers that brought. So I voice the same concerns of just the traffic in the neighborhood and it being a quiet neighborhood and wanting to keep it that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bertina Cupcho. I live at 17709 Potomac Street in Columbus. Our house is right where Potomac turns to Mackenzie, and we see all of the traffic that goes by. My mailbox was hit this last year by somebody driving too fast around that corner. In the 4 or 5 years we've lived there, we've seen up to 5 or 6 accidents at the corner of where Potomac meets Broadway. The house on the corner just got his fence fixed from that last big accident. I think that this is going to bring in so many more cars and so much traffic. It's really scary and it's really dangerous. I know a lot of people think they feel like we don't have a lot of traffic, but I see all of it. It goes zooming right past my driveway every day. And the weekends are busy. Everything's very busy. So I have 2 small boys that also like to ride bike. There's a large family that lives down the street. I don't see them here. They have 6 children that walk down that street. They bring wagons down the street. There's no way this is going to be safe. This is so much traffic. We strongly oppose. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Joy Kovash. I live at 7222 167th Avenue Northeast in Columbus. I am a former event coordinator and manager of a large food and beverage establishment in Washington County. I can guarantee you that even if you think you have everything planned out perfectly, things will happen. There will be alcohol, there will be drugs, there will be reasons to call the police, and there will be liability. So I would encourage you to consult with the Anoka County Sheriff Office. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak?
Good evening. Bill and my wife Lisa Abler at 17910 Usuri Street Northeast. So we're just on the curve on that dirt road there. First of all, we just moved to the area in December, and we just want to say we love Columbus. I know there's been a lot of hard work and planning and whatever. I've been reading through the planning report, that you put on, and hope to get to meet the neighbors, maybe under different terms than this. Nothing personal against you. We've not met. I have not met hardly any of you. But I guess my questions really are, does this request fit the goals and policies as stated in the comprehensive plan that is so thorough and well laid out? Just a couple comments here. Goal number 1 says to encourage and manage future growth in the city consistent with community values, small town character, and long-term financial sustainability. And there's a couple sub-points. One is provide for the orderly development of safe and efficient housing opportunities, maintain housing opportunities that would be consistent with the rural nature of the city and protection of environmental systems. Goal number 5 has to do with community facilities and services, provide a range of public services to enhance community safety, livability, and quality of life. The first point there is to promote safe neighborhoods and crime prevention in the city. The second one is to retain the quality of life in the city. Goal number 2 talks about managing development of the rural, diversified areas in a way that protects community character, preserves environmental resources, and allows for flexibility. And there's a note there, it says prohibit unplanned commercial or industrial uses from developing near residential areas. So these are from your documents, and I'm sure there's a lot of thought and that I don't understand all this stuff. And so my question as someone new, really looking forward to living in a nice, quiet, rural setting, is how does this application match up with the stated goals in the development plan? But again, thank you for serving, and we love it here.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Is there anybody online who would like to be heard?
At this point, if there is nobody online or in person, we did have a written comment come in, and for the record, I would go ahead and read that.
Okay.
And this comes from Chuck and Nancy Roberts at 18019 Usuri, thank you so much. Usuri, I looked up many ways to read it. And Chuck and Nancy Roberts stated that they are very much opposed to Julie and Chris Harper having a wedding venue business in our neighborhood. There is nowhere for people to park except on our streets. There will absolutely be alcohol at wedding events, and this is dangerous in many ways. They stated that this couple needs to rent a separate building if they want to run a business like this, and it affects the entire neighborhood and just cannot be allowed. The way the letter about the hearing is worded makes it sound like the Harpers want to have their wedding there, a single event. That is very different from having it be a business, and that there aren't enough police in Columbus to handle these crowds. They stated that they were not able to make the meeting tonight, but they wanted to express their opposition to this.
All right, being no other testimony, we're going to close the meeting to the public. And we're going to discuss between the planning commissioner about this application. Do you have any concerns or questions?
No, I do not at this time.
No questions for me. I thought everybody did a great job expressing their opinions and their views.
Okay. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. A lot of information has come in tonight. Quite a bit of opposition to this, and I note that very seriously. I listened to every one of you and what you had to say. It is concerning. Some of the concerns I think, are very valid, and one moment, please. I guess at this point, I am looking for a motion to approve or disapprove.
At this point, so we have a couple options here. At this meeting, we can continue any discussion if you have any more questions about this. We have discussed this on a concept base with the Harpers prior to this, and this was our opportunity to see neighborhood feedback since this is in a rural residential area that's very important as a part of this process. So thank you all so much for coming out here, but we do have a couple of options as a planning commission here. We can continue it to a secondary meeting if we want to continue to discuss other options in this proposal. Otherwise, if we have discussed it enough, we have enough questions, and we've received public comments that you have your decisions made up, you can either recommend approval or denial to the City Council. At that point, the proposal will go to the City Council next week with your recommendation, with all of the public testimony that received tonight, and they will make their final decision next week. So those are our options here.
All right. You
Okay.
have a motion?
Yes.
What was your prior conversation?
So this type of business and operation in a residential area is not currently a part of our code. Anytime somebody comes up with a proposal, a resident that wants to do something on their property that isn't currently considered, we have at least a preliminary discussion on how that would work from a legal standpoint and how we would go about processing that if we choose to do so. That was primarily the conversation of how we even want to permit this if we're going to consider it as an option, whether we want to do it on individual events, whether we want to give them an annual license, those types of conversations. And that was the extent of the conversation there. And then this was the formal process once we have our ducks in the row of how we would even consider this proposal. So, yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So some of us were notified by mail, many of us were not. So the neighbors that are sitting here, it's by word of mouth, and there's probably a third of the neighborhood that's not aware of this.
Okay.
We haven't talked to them. That's why they are not here. Nobody in the neighborhood thinks this is a good idea.
Okay.
So the thought is when you notify an event like this in a neighborhood, you've got to tell the whole neighborhood because so few of us actually formally notify.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Duly
for that.
noted.
Thank you for that comment. It is state statute whenever we have a public hearing as this, it needs to be 500 feet from the property. However, we can go further than that, and we appreciate understanding what that neighborhood.
That doesn't cover the neighborhood.
Yeah, right.
No.
Exactly. Exactly. And that can be a conversation on how we want to distribute these notices in the future to make sure that entire neighborhoods understand what's going on in their neighborhood and has the opportunity to speak. And that can definitely be something that we look into how to properly notify people who are impacted.
There's a third of the neighborhood that you're not able to hear.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Did you have
I'll bring that concern back to the council next week. That area needs to spread out. That's been a concern of mine in the past too, that maybe we notify more people on the street than regular, just what's by law has to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Thank you, Rob.
Okay. And like,
Robin, can I say something?
Yes, sir.
So I want to tell the neighborhood here that this is a concept that we came up with, and I appreciate everyone coming here and giving your opinion. There was things that, well, we thought we can control everything, but we appreciate that you bring this forward in your opinion, and maybe there's some things that we didn't consider, so I'm glad to come out and voice your opinion. Appreciate that.
Okay. You were going to say, do you want to make a recommendation?
yes. My recommendation is to deny it and turn it over to the city council. I'd like to make a motion.
Deny the application?
Yes.
Second by Mike.
We'll take a vote on that.
Kim, I.
Mike, aye.
Rob and I.
All right.
At this point, I'm sorry, we're denying the application from us. We're recommending that to the city council at this time. I think there's ample concern about traffic in the neighborhood that makes this a very, I think it's a tenable situation that, I'm sorry to say that, I cannot recommend this. Thank you very much.
For everybody's understanding, on Friday, there will be another packet for next week's city council meeting, which is the final decision on this matter, whether to approve or deny the application. They could also forward it to more meetings. However, it usually goes through a single city council meeting. On that Friday, it will have a summary of the public comment received and hopefully also a verbatim transcript of what was stated here tonight for the city council to review at their meeting next week. So thank you all for coming out.
Okay, we're going to move on to the public hearing, item 5B. Hidden Park Comprehensive Plan Amendment and Rezoning. We'll delay for a moment.
Yeah, we're going to let everyone clear out for a second.
That was super interesting. Good fun, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
All right.
That much complaint.
Go relation to this property.
yeah, right.
Sure, I'm so sorry.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, we'll keep that. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate the feedback. Really do.
Yes.
We'll get together.
They brought it.
Yeah.
True. I think I said something last week.
Yeah. We'll call back to order, please.
Oh, it's 152nd, yeah, that's
Yeah, so I can remember going.
Okay.
Okay, let's try this again. We're going to work on agenda item 5B today. Eleanor, would you please read the notice that's published in the Forest Lake Times?
Absolutely. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the City of Columbus Planning Commission on Wednesday, July 16th, 2025 at 6 p.m. or soon thereafter as parties may be heard to consider the request for a comprehensive plan amendment and rezoning ordinance amendment to change the designated land use of a 1.93 acre parcel, Hidden Park, from park to rural residential. The hearing will be conducted in person and by interactive technology at the Columbus City Hall located at 16319 Kettle River Boulevard, Columbus, Minnesota. Members of the public interested in attending in person, monitoring the meeting, or wanting more information should contact city offices at 651-464-3120 or visit the city website at columbusmn.us. The hearing shall continue until all evidence and testimony has been received.
Why, thank you, Eleanor. And I'm going to give you another chance to speak. Could you please brief us on this matter?
Absolutely. This matter has been a point of discussion throughout the Planning Commission, City Council, and Park Board for a number of years now. However, no formal action has been taken as of yet, so we are starting to open that conversation up to real action on this point. It is the proposal on the table currently is to have Hidden Park, which is a small neighborhood park, redesignated as residential so that the city may be able to liquidate the assets of that park and redistribute it to the city park, which we have determined to be a primary goal moving forward in that area. Do you want to speak a little bit on this?
Again, as Eleanor mentioned, the Hidden Park is not used exclusively. Maintenance on it's very limited. We did look into this. The property was acquired by a tax forfeit back in the 80s. If the city owns it more than 30 years, they can then sell it. That's a consideration here. So in order to sell it, though, it has to be rezoned. That's why we're having the public hearing tonight and inviting comments from anyone interested to speak on that. We have sent preliminary notices out to the adjoining property owners to see if they have any interest in purchasing it. If they don't, then we'll determine what we'll do probably just a market sale, if that's the desire of the council to go forward with this. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to stand for answers. As this is a public hearing, you're entitled to speak first. Then I can answer your questions later.
How do you determine the price?
We haven't determined the price yet. We have a value system.
Jack.
Yeah.
We should have him come to the mic.
Yeah.
This is a public hearing.
Give your name and address for the record, please.
It's a little easier for me to do minutes when people are talking into microphones. Thank you so much.
Mark Bradshaw. I live at 7612 162nd Avenue, Columbus, right next door.
Thank you.
What our determination, just looking at the prices, we have not had it appraised. We did look at the county estimated market values for all the properties along 162nd Avenue and found that they are valued in approximately the $60,000 to $65,000 per acre range. This is a 1.93 acre site, so based on that, a potential high asking price for the property would be around $130,000. We do recognize there's a few low spots in the back of this one that may affect and bring the price of that down. So we haven't come up to a final adjustment on that yet, but it would be somewhere probably in $130,000 tops to a lesser price than that. And it would be probably open to some negotiations if an adjoining property owner is looking to buy it and there's only one that's interested.
What if more than one neighbor wants it? Will you divide it?
The property could be split among those two neighbors in order to add to their lot, so to give it more privacy and ensure that nobody builds in there next to those.
There's actually three. There's one behind, so there's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one on the east, one on the west, one on the south, and one on the kind of the southeast corner.
Oh, okay.
We're going to enlarge that just a little bit, Ellie, and we can show them where this is.
Oh, all right, got it. Okay,
So,
I'm with it. I got it now.
Okay.
I understand it. Okay. Will they perk it first?
probably to determine if it's buildable. There's areas in front that are not listed in that floodplain. That's something we may do.
It's pretty wet.
Yeah. We know it is in the back, yeah, so.
Well, even in the front when it rains. Yep.
But
So-
but determining if it was a buildable lot, does
Yep.
it be affecting the price? We probably have to do that to set a value on it.
Okay, all right. When is that going to take place?
Probably in the next month, I'm guessing.
Okay. We will be notified before it goes to public?
Absolutely. We would rather work with the surrounding property owners. That's why the only people that have received any notice on this are those property owners that abut this property.
Oh, okay, all right, okay, all right. I don't have any more questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Robin, could I address that?
Yes.
So just to answer your question a little bit there, in the past, we had sold some other park property that was landlocked, and it was given to Columbus as a parkland dedication, I believe is what it was, so that they didn't have to pay that parkland dedication fee. And what the council did at that time, not saying that's exactly what's going to happen this time, but we all agreed to open it up to the adjoining people first before we put it out to public market. So that would be my opinion on what we did. So,
Okay, I hope you would. I mean,
yeah.
Okay.
So.
And again, that's why I stated the only people who received any official notice of this are those 4 properties that adjoin this one.
And with that property, one of the property owners ended up purchasing it. It was a
did.
sealed bid deal is what we did on
okay,
that
that's
one.
what I was going to ask you. That I did think about that, if it was going to be a bid thing, a sealed bid, yeah, okay. All right.
That was how it went, right?
That's correct.
All right, I just want to make sure I wasn't misspeaking.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you,
Making
Mr.
promises,
Bradshaw.
right? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Should I make a motion?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Kim. I'd like to make a motion to continue discussion of the Hidden Park Comprehensive Plan Amendment and rezoning at the next Planning Commission meeting on August 6, 2025.
Second by Mike.
We'll take a vote.
Kim, aye?
Mike, aye.
Robin, aye. All right, next on the agenda.
Will I get a letter on the next meeting as well?
It will be on the next Planning Commission meeting.
I will get a letter, or do I need to write that down, what you just said?
Well, since it won't be a public hearing, it'll be discussion.
Oh, it's just between you, I got it.
Well, no, but you're invited to come back so you can hear the discussion on it.
Okay,
You are welcome.
all right,
That would be August 6th.
okay.
Same time.
Same time, same place. Same time, same place. We're not having a secret one somewhere else.
You guys are really hardcore.
I give my hand to
Okay.
Moving on.
This is a jolly time tonight. Okay, the next item that we have is item number 5C, Northwest Quadrant Lot 1, Block 2, Comprehensive Plan Amendment and Rezoning. Eleanor, would you care to read us the...
I'm getting pretty good at this. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the City of Columbus Planning Commission on Wednesday, July 16th, 2025 at 6 p.m. or soon thereafter, as parties may be heard to consider a request to consider a comprehensive plan amendment and rezoning ordinance amendment to change the designated land use of a 5.3 acre parcel from commercial to mixed use high. The hearing will be conducted in person and by interactive technology at the Columbus City Hall located at 16319 Kettle River Boulevard, Columbus, Minnesota. Members of the public interested in attending the in person, monitoring the meeting, or wanting more information should contact the city offices at 651-464-3120 or visit the city website at columbusmn.us. The hearing shall continue until all evidence and testimony has been received.
Thank you, Eleanor.
Thank you.
And again, your opportunity to speak.
And it is back to me. This is the second City of Columbus application on the docket today. Similar to the Hidden Park Comprehensive Plan and rezoning designation, this is a piece of city-owned property that we are hoping to rezone from a purely commercial use to a mixed-use high, which would allow the potential development of apartment buildings, condos, or a senior living facility is what we are currently hoping for in that area. We've discussed this at previous Planning Commission meetings. It's been in the works for a very long time. Things have to happen slowly and in order, but this is the first official step to getting that rezoning done. The property itself is a little bit tucked away from the rest of the commercial district due to this wetland right here along the western side. The area is adjacent to other mixed-use high designations across the freeway here. And the city considers that this would be a good location for that potential development. Mixed-use high does not only relegate that area to being a potential apartment complex or condo or townhomes. That's not the only use. It could still be developed for commercial purposes, but this would allow those proposals to be considered. If a developer came in and said, we would like to build a senior living facility here, we don't have to tell them no. So that's the general overview of what we're hoping to do with this piece of property going forward. Both of these require comprehensive plan amendments to redesignate the land use, not just the zoning, which will need to be approved by the Metropolitan Council. We've talked to our sector rep, and we don't see any future issues getting these two approvals from the Metropolitan Council, and should both be handled through administrative review rather than having to go through a whole public hearing process with them as well.
Thank you, Eleanor. You have questions for Eleanor?
No, I do not.
No questions from me.
Okay.
I'll add a couple more things regarding this property. We have been approached by 4 different developers on this over the past 6 months. The last one was about 2 weeks ago. The property has been appraised. I think the county market value on it's close to $800,000, and it's approximately 6 acres. As she stated, the reason we want to have it rezoned, it's currently general commercial, but because of its distance from Lake Drive, it's probably not as valuable a commercial property as those that front on those major streets. So we were looking to expand and get a little bit more flexibility for a developer to use it. And there's been some pretty good interest, and we're waiting on a reply from one right now to see if they want to pursue further discussions on negotiating on the sale.
Okay.
At this point, open a public hearing.
Okay, this is Kim. I'd like to make a motion.
Sorry to interrupt, but you do have to open a public hearing for this one.
You're right.
Okay.
Okay. At this point, anyone who has an interest in this application and wants to present testimony as evidence on this issue, please acknowledge themselves by stating their full name and address. Is there anyone interested in speaking to us today? Hearing no one, we'll close the public hearing at this point.
Okay, this is Kim. I'd like to make a motion to continue discussion of the Northwest Quad, Lot 1, Block 2, Comprehensive Plan Amendment and rezoning at the next Planning Commission meeting on August 6, 2025.
Second by Mike.
We'll take a vote.
Kim, aye.
Mike, aye.
Rob and I. Okay.
Lost my agenda.
Okay, the next on the agenda here is the Planning Commissioner's report. I have nothing at this time. Eleanor, have you? Anything?
Well, I'm the next item, but I can go on then. I do not have anything at this time. Our next meeting will be on August 6th, as there are five weeks. In July, our 5th week will be our little break. We get a week off.
Okay. I guess I'm looking for a motion to adjourn at this point.
Hi, this is Kim. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn tonight's Planning Commission.
Second by Mike.
Take a vote.
Kim, aye?
Mike, aye?
Rob and I. Meeting is adjourned at 7:12.